Yes, I can.
Okay, good. It's about 7:03 on March the 1st, so we'll go ahead and get started. First item is any announcements, open session, and public comments. So any announcements from anyone? Anything else for open session? Okay, we'll move on to roll call. So we have Chris and Joe and Skip and Kevin and Janet and Will. And then we have David and Steve, who have joined us in the past. Next item would be the approval of the minutes of meeting from, I guess it would be the 2:15 meeting. So if people have had a chance to look at them prior to the meeting, we can entertain a motion to approve.
Number 5, Chris, what's the going word for new dredging is called improvement dredging?
I'm sorry, where are you? 5 what?
5.1.4. You know, the word that's used there is improvement dredging. I was just wondering if that's replacing what people would term before new dredging.
No, it's synonymous. I chose that word because that was the word they used on the call, but it is synonymous with new. I've heard them used interchangeably.
Okay, and then at 5.15, where it says only a fee, but we know there's in the same article, the minutes, it lists that there's other options besides only a fee.
Down further, yeah. This was kind of the sequence that we discussed it. I understand what you're saying, Skip. Give me just a sec. And maybe we just cross-reference it. You're saying because of 5.4, where they did at the end acknowledge.
Right. So only a few, but then it goes on later and it gives these other options.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what I can do is under 5.1.5, I can add language that says see also 5.4. Would you like me to add words to that effect?
I'm just curious why it was there, and then we jumped to 5.1.11. He goes, there's multiple places where we talked about the
because that's the sequence in which it occurred.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, why would the money, did they explain why the National Marine Fisheries Service would use the money for land when they're having to do with ocean type of activities? You would think it would be.
Go ahead, Joe. Do you have any recollection of them going into detail?
Yeah, it wasn't land per se. It was aquatic projects that might involve the purchase of land with marshes and so forth on them, breeding grounds for birds and so forth. So it's a broad arena, you know, connected to fisheries that they would use it for.
So it's like the government, they just like to expand in all kinds of areas.
Areas within their domain.
Do you want some type of clarification or word change on that?
No, I just wanted to understand why it was hooked up with National Marine Fisheries Service, which I thought was more oceans than land. But now that he's saying that, Joe says it's taking money and using it to purchase wetlands. Or do work, I guess, in wetlands.
Well, it's all about protection of species. So be it shellfish, groundfish, ocean fish, estuary. That's what National Marine Fisheries is, the state source that does that. If I'm
All
right.
right. All right, I think I understand it better.
All right, if someone wants to make a motion, and if you want to say including modified language to 5.15, clarifying language to 5.15, we can certainly do that.
I make a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting of February 15th as as written, except for one change in 5. So what did you say it was in, Chris?
5.15.
515.
I second it.
Okay, thank you, Kevin.
Yep.
So we'll go through individually and vote either aye or nay.
Could we have a reading of the motion, please? Chris?
Yeah, Skip, you want to reword it or restate it?
I'd
Just read
say
it.
yes, that we accept the minutes of February 15th, 2021 as written, except for the 5.15 will, for the word only a fee is changed per what Chris had said he would place in there.
Yeah, but what
what
did
was that?
Chris say he wanted to replace it with?
I would add words that at the end of the sentence that say see also 5.4.
So there's a second on that.
I'll second it.
Okay, move on to voting. Kevin,
Aye.
Skip,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Chris, aye. All right, passes 4-0. Move on to the next item, which is the status of the contract for permit assistance, namely the lobbyist. And Joe, if you could give us an update on that, please.
Yeah, it was determined that 3 bids would be required, although the select board has approved the proposal and contract for the
Oops, hold on, Joe, we can't hear you.
Yeah, wait, you went mute, Joe. Joe, can you hear me? You're mute.
Joe, yeah. We can't hear you. Okay.
It's like my Carol Burnett impression.
That's a good,
How about now?
good.
That's good.
Oh, okay. Not that you missed anything. So I had a conversation with the town administrator, and it was determined that 3 bids would be required, and that we needed to get 2 additional bids. And we discussed possible firms in Washington, D.C. And Chris and I had identified some. When I call them, because of COVID, they're all working from home, and you get an answering machine or a person who handles calls only. So we're working through that process. And the TA has asked me to send the RFP to 2 other possible bidders. She expressed to me that she wasn't familiar with RFPs, so I offered to write it. And we sent it to her and she approved of it. So I expect to get some names within the next couple of days and to get those RFPs out and to get 2 additional bids back. So a decision could be made. There's also the need for a licensed procurement officer who works in municipal government to handle that bidding process. Mike Travato, the assistant TA, and Courtney Butler were licensed procurement officers, but they are now gone. So I learned that Suzanne Thomas is licensed, and I talked with her, and she'd be willing to help us out. But at this point, the town administrator told me she didn't want to use her at this point in time. So the first step is to get the additional 2 bids back in and then start the process there to award the contract.
But at that point, we need to have a licensed procurement officer lined up. Is that right?
Yes.
Joe, what's that process entail? They don't take the lowest bid, do they?
They're not required to take the lowest bid, but if you don't take the lowest bid, you have to state a reason why. Okay. I was involved in that process before, and before I retired, and it goes along pretty smoothly as long as you can justify, not going with the lowest bidder. So I think that's the path that we would pursue after looking at them.
Is there a time frame on it, Joe, approximately?
Well, there's no time frame per se. It's the process when it's complete. The town administrator did say to me, if 2 additional bidders do not respond, then we could go ahead with the proposal that we have. What's next, Chris?
The status of the RFPs, this is for the GEI work.
Yeah.
You have an update on that one as well. I
Yeah,
think.
and I talked to the town administrator about that, and she's comfortable with without doing a RFP and getting more bids in. She's comfortable with a continuation of the present contract we have with GEI engineers and continuing their services at the negotiated fee.
And so the main thing that they will be working on first, providing some assistance on the grant and also doing an estimate, which we need for the grant. So I believe they're taking a look at that, and we expect an estimate sometime this week, actually.
Yeah, Chris and I had the conference call with the people in Boston who will be awarding the grants, and it was very helpful. And they're open to discussion and helping us with submitting the grant applications. We had an opportunity to present the town's case to them, and I think it was well received.
And Joe, if I may ask, who was that? Was that,
That was Secretary Canali of
Yeah.
the Secretary of the Housing and Economic
Economic
Development. He is the person who came here last June.
Yep.
And 3 of his staff, including the grant coordinator.
Yep,
That was in 2019.
yeah.
Yes, 2019.
Okay, next item is update on permit activity, which is primarily Area 2 and our issues with National Marine Fisheries.
The key I see to that is revving up the lobbyist,
Yeah.
because not only will he serve in the capacity of advocating, but I think we're going to learn also from that process as we go forward.
Next item is funding grants, starting with the one that's in play, which is the Massachusetts EOHED Dredging Program grant application. So the application has been circulated. We got feedback from Nancy and from Will. We're going through it, consolidating the comments. There's a couple of items we may have to reach out for. Well, there are some items we still have to reach out for and get some information and a few more questions. So Joe and I will summarize those and reach out to the appropriate people.
Does that include, Chris, does that include the financials where there is monies that I know that were listed that would affect budgets in the town in terms of spending? And I think there was also the monies that go into it from the harbor master's account.
Yeah, there was a need for that, and Will provided what we've spent the last 3 fiscal years. That was an open item, but he's done that. And we also needed to populate the table for FY 2020. And again, Will provided that information in updates this morning, along with some other stuff. So we it's a need to final read through some wordsmithing and a couple of pieces of either missing data or data that needs to be confirmed. We also need to confirm that the links that are in that application taking us to various documents, that the links are functional. Right now, they go to a town website page that says not available. So we'll have to work with Rebecca to make sure those are live links that go somewhere.
So do we have a date when we would submit that to GEI to clean it all up and put together like they did last time?
Yeah, they have all the changes that I just described, but as I said, we'll consolidate it, and I'll send Dan Robbins a note telling him that we'll send it to him, the latest and greatest consolidated one, so that he can go ahead and add anything else. I'll send it to him probably tomorrow, certainly no later than Wednesday.
Chris and I went through the entire grant application today, every part of it. And we have highlighted where we need additions or some revisions. So I think at this point, we have a pretty good knowledge and insight into what they're looking for, and are in a better position to complete it.
One other item about this application for people, there is an instruction session tomorrow conducted by, the Office of Housing and Economic Development. Skip, I think you were on that call last year, if I remember right, the one with Nicholas.
Yep, I was on that one.
So if anyone wants to join it, you can refer to, their website, or I sent an email out to everyone February the 17th at 10:44. It's the one where I said the application is due March 17th, and I forwarded the email from Nicholas, who was conducting the session. So anyone that wants to join, you can retrieve that email or go to their website and join this session tomorrow.
Basically, they go through each question, so they give you an idea of how you can put it together.
Right.
Okay, that's how they go through that, and then they ask questions if you feel you're having difficulties.
Okay, the other upcoming funding grant that we'll be working on is Seaport Economic Council for infrastructure, which for us, we're viewing to be piling replacement. I looked at their website for the application, and although it's titled slightly different, it's identical to the one that we're working on. And I think that's in error, because I know the one we did last year was a different application. It had the 4 or 5 categories. Will, you probably remember, where you check the box whether you're going for infrastructure or.
Yeah,
So I'll reach out to them this week and make sure that we have the right application. Like I said, the one that I found online, I don't think is the proper one.
Chris, I was under the impression that they combined the two. That's what Keneally said last year, that they were going to combine the Seaport Economic Grant with the Housing and Economic Development Grant. But if you're, yes, so call them and check on that.
Yeah,
Or there's one or the other. I don't know.
yeah, I'll call because it reads a lot different than last year, but and because it's identical to the one we're working on, it really doesn't include the stuff that SCC typically looks for, like what category are you applying? So I'll call Ellen Sabula.
Yeah, I'm sure they're separate because they fund 2 different areas.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I believe SEC requires a 20% match on funds. But again, I'll confirm that. We were going to see if we had any update on piling replacement. We had talked with Alfred the last time, but he's away this week, so I don't think we have anything new to report on piling replacement, unless someone else has something new to report or questions to ask. So,
I
we'll-
just was, this is Nancy. I just was gonna check in. Is there anything that you need me to do for the dredging grant?
No, I don't think so. I did send you a note. Yeah, we're consolidating everyone's comments. Did you change anything besides 5.2 and 5.4? We picked up those changes, but
I changed
can go
5.1
through item
through
by item.
5.4.
excuse me?
I'm sorry. I changed 5.1 through 5.4. I answered your email.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, Will and I went through the document together, and then I did all the shellfish changes to the rest through Will. And then I kept mine simple, those ones that you had asked me. And then Will and I worked together on the other shellfish updates so that it wouldn't get confusing.
yeah, we tried to keep Nancy's purely with the shellfish, and then we worked together on the rest of it.
So, Will, between your file that you sent this morning and Nancy's 5.1 through 5.4, that represents all the changes between the two of you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that's-
That way, it should hopefully just be easy to copy and paste those sections, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
But
I did. I did.
And I just didn't, if you need anything, just let me know. I
Okay.
wanted to make sure I was here in case you had any questions.
Okay, appreciate it. Next item is a quick look at the action item list, but it really boils down to the lobbyist and the RFPs, the current grant application. Those are the critical activities. Any other comments or additions to that list? Okay, move on to next meeting date. 2-week cycle puts us March 15th at 7 p.m. Is that good for everyone?
That looks good.
Okay. Any other business? Now we'll move on to a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn 7:27.
Second it.
Okay, voting, Kevin,
Aye.
Skip,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Chris, aye. All right, meeting's adjourned 7:28 and a half.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks everyone.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Nance.